All right, ladies and gentlemen, 10-4 notes, you've done it. You've gotten to the last one for distance learning, unless, I'm reusing this old video some years from now, at which point you still have another chapter. But for now, you're done. You're done after this. And I'm proud of you, and I'm thankful for all the work that you've done. Now, let's get into it. We are doing radical equations. Radical equations are any equation where you've got a square root symbol in the equation, all right? And the good news is, just like any other equation, you're just doing the opposite operation. The only tricky part is right here, step one, you have to isolate the radical on one side of the equation, okay? I'll show you what that means. It's not difficult, but it's easy to forget, okay? After that, you square both sides because the opposite of taking the square root is to square something. So we're just going to be squaring both sides, just the same as we would add from both sides or subtract from both sides and so on in previous equations, okay? Let's look at some examples. Number one, very simple and straightforward. We have the square root of a is 8. Or the square root of a equals 8. So what do? We square both sides. And the square root gets canceled out by the squaring, so the only thing that's left is a equals 8 squared, which hopefully you memorized, is 64. And you're done. Isn't that nice? That's nice. Okay? Straightforward and simple. Now, number two, a little more work. Number two, step one is isolate the radical sign. And as you can see here, there's the radical sign around the square root of a. But we have this plus 6 that's outside of it. We have to get rid of that first. You have to get rid of that first. If you don't, you will do something wrong or illegal. So get rid of it first. Subtract 6 from both sides, nothing we haven't seen before, okay? And the square root of a is all that's left. That still cancels, equals 26, okay? Then square both sides. This cancels. A equals 26 squared. How many of you got those perfect squares memorized up to 25, like I said? Good, me neither. I mean, I know most of them, but I forget some. I definitely don't know 26, though. So 26 squared, 676. That's what, I mean, I knew that. I didn't know that. There's your answer, okay? So if you were to take 676, plug that back in for a, square root of 676 is 26. 26 plus 6 is 32, okay? We're not doing anything we haven't done before. We're just adding in this idea of squaring both sides and having to get that radical by itself before we do it. For number three, same thing. We need to get the radical by itself, but we have this 2 up front. But since it's up front, this is multiplying, right? This is 2 times the square root of x. So we have to divide by 2 to get the radical by itself, okay? Nothing we haven't done 1,000 times before. It's just a little different. Square root of x equals 8 over 2 is 4. And then square both sides. This cancels. X equals 4 squared is 16. Okay? We're not doing anything super new. You just got to remember that part about isolate the radical. Okay? Number 4, we switched it up. We put the radical on the right side. It's the same thing. Now, where this one might trick some of you is here we have the square root of 26 minus minus n, excuse me. Here, the radical is already by itself, okay? There's other stuff underneath of it, but the radical is by itself. There's nothing up here that we're multiplying by. There's nothing outside that we're adding or subtracting. So our first step here can actually be, I use parentheses to help, to square both sides. This cancels that, and we have 7 squared is 49 equals 26 minus n, okay? From there, excuse me while I adjust my setup here, we have subtract 26 from both sides, okay, and we get 23 equals negative n. Okay, and don't forget that minus stays. Multiply both sides by -1, negative 23 equals positive n. Okay? You guys got this. This is such a fun way to end. Okay? Here, the radical's already by itself, just like the last one. If I were you, pause the video, try 5, try 6, see what you come up with, and then come back and see how I do it. You paused. I know you did. I know you did. So welcome back. Let's see how I do it and compare what you got. Square both sides. X minus 4 equals 36. Add 4 to both sides. X equals 40. 40 minus 4 is 36. Square root of 36 is 6. It works. Here, we have a little bit more work to do, but it's the same thing. The radical's already by itself, so square both sides. 4x minus 1, okay, that squaring, it just takes care of the square root sign, doesn't do anything else, equals 9. Add 1 to both sides. 4x equals 10. Uh-oh. Okay, got divided by 4. So x equals, oh no, what's 10 divided by 4? Well, if you can reduce fractions, it's 5/2. If you can't, you type it in your calculator and you get 2.5. Are we going to be upset either way? No, we are not. We're going to be very happy. Just like I'm very happy that you guys have gotten through, I said it, your last video notes for this trimester. Again, I'm proud of you. Go knock out that last bit of homework, get ready for that last bit of quizzing, and then, believe it or not, it's summer vacation. You get to, I miss you guys. I love you. Stay safe and stay in touch.